To get access to the driveshaft carrier, first we're going to have to remove the big heat shield in the middle. To do that, we're going to have to lower the exhaust. So start in the back and remove the muffler clamps, and then go up to this cross member, remove that, and then up at the front there's an attachment to the tunnel. You can remove the exhaust fully. If you're comfortable doing that, it'll be much easier to actually access the carrier. To get the main heat shield down, we're first going to have to remove this small one at the back. Next, we'll remove the front tunnel brace. This is holding the heat shield up. Remove the rest of the bolts, and then take the heat shield off the vehicle. Next, we're going to cut off the OEM carrier. We left the exhaust in place, so we're just lowering it down here so that we can spin the carrier around and then make 2 cuts on the top of it. Use a razor blade to cut the rubber all the way around the bearing to release it from the carrier. Cut off the rubber center rib, leaving the base layer of rubber intact on the bearing. Next, we'll attach the new carrier. This particular one, the front arrows on the bushing will be facing rearward. Take the top half and throw it over the bearing, and then you'll bring the bottom half up to meet it and connect the two together with the Allen wrench. It's a little hard to see both sides with the muffler in the way, but as you're tightening up these bolts, you want to flip back and forth between left and right side to make sure the bolts don't bind in the holes. Next, we'll attach the carrier to the car. Take your bolt, put a fender washer on it, put an isolation damper facing up, then go up through the carrier, then come down from the top with another isolation damper, and then put your small washer on the very top and go up into the car. When you're replacing the heat shield, you'll see there's a clearance issue between the heads of the bolts and the bushings and this big heat shield. Since this heat shield's made out of steel, we can't just bend it out of the way. So mark the center of the bolt holes, drill some pilot holes, and then you're going to have to use a hole saw or a step bit to make 1.5 inch holes. This is going to allow the bushings to poke through and the bolt heads. When we're reassembling the heat shield, we're actually going to use the 2 bolts that were holding the driveshaft carrier up instead of the center heat shield bolts. They're a little bit longer.